Hi guys, what's up? Welcome back to another video. Today you join me in the 2024 Volkswagen T-Roc R, the performance version of the small crossover that people have come to know and love. So the T-Roc range starts at around £28,000 and you get a choice of manual and DSG with some 1 litre, 1.5 and 2 litre turbocharged petrol engines, and also a 2 litre turbo diesel, which is welcome in today's climate because people do still like those for longer journeys. There are unfortunately no plug-in hybrids or electric options available at all, so they're a little bit behind the curve there. I won't go through the full range, but the Volkswagen website is very good. The builder on there gives you lots of information about exactly what trim levels are available and what's included with those trims. It's very comprehensive. What I'm mainly going to be focused on in this review is a few of the practicalities of the car and the quality, but also how it drives, because this one proves to be a real hoot. So as standard on this car, you get a 10-inch virtual cockpit and a 9-inch display. It's sufficient, but it's not very modern. It's definitely the older Volkswagen system, so you'll notice when you're in use that it's pretty much the same as in a Mark 7.5 Golf R. So the R variant is a 2 litre turbocharged engine, one that we've come to know and love across many Volkswagen Audi Group products. So in this, guys, it's 300 brake horsepower and it's mated to a 7-speed DSG transmission and 0 to 60 in around 4.9 seconds, so very quick indeed. It's a Haldex 4-wheel drive system that's front biased and can pass up to 50% of the power to the rear when necessary for extra grip, and it also helps propel you out of those corners a little bit better. So the R is around 45 grand, but the option list with Volkswagen can get quite expensive quite quickly. For example, I'd recommend, as with most of these R cars, that you spec it with dynamic chassis control. That's about £1,000. There's the option for Volkswagen's new IQ lighting system, which is 38,000 micro LEDs spread across both headlights, which make for a really good high beam assist. Reversing camera, optional unfortunately, £375. The winter pack, which is heated seats and heated washers, £375. Optional alloys, just under £1,000. The panoramic roof, over £1,000. So you see it soon starts to add up. However, what I will say is that once they're spec'd correctly, they are quite a nice car to live with day to day. It's very familiar. If you've ever come from something like a Volkswagen Polo, this is all going to look pretty much the same to you in here. So the exterior styling has been refreshed for this new generation, and it's not really a full new model, so I would imagine it might be worth waiting for that if you're really holding out, because the Volkswagen Golf 8.5R is very different to this internally, and this version of the engine is slightly detuned compared to the Golfs as well. I do think it's quite a handsome car overall, and finished in this classic lapis blue paint, it's absolutely indistinguishable as an R car, so I think it is quite nice. The only thing is I do kind of prefer the older wheels and stuff like that. I'm not too sure about these newer options, but it's just a personal preference thing. The facelift has brought it up to date a little bit, and I think that's really helped by the lights, and you've also got some nice additions to the rear lights, including dynamic indicators. They do look alright. They're definitely not the best in class, but does look kind of similar to an Audi SQ2. I think styling is going to be subjective on this one. I think it looks okay. I think it's quite handsome, and I think probably with some slightly blacked out accents, I think it would look quite aggressive as well. Step inside and it does look quite modern, although it is kind of on the lower end. It's very similar to what you'd get in a smaller hatchback like a Polo, for example, or an Ibiza. So you've got the virtual cockpit here, which is the slightly older style one, which I do like. You've got full maps on there and lots of customizability, which is really good. And then you've got the older style Volkswagen system in the middle, which unfortunately now is quite laggy, quite unresponsive and lacking in features compared to many of its rivals, especially at this price point. Anything from Kia, Hyundai is going to be miles better than this in every conceivable way. Same with the sound system, it's just a little bit lackluster. But do you know what? That's not what this particular car is all about. It is a bit of a shame in the lower end T-Roc variants, but in this one, it's all about the driving experience. What is nice though is everything is fairly well laid out. The climate controls, although they are the touch slidey ones that Volkswagen keep putting in things, they're actually a lot easier to use on this car because they're nothing to do with the infotainment system. So it's actually welcome that they're separate, to be honest. There are some quality concerns though. You do get really scratchy, horrible plastics absolutely everywhere, and also some of the buttons in the middle almost feel like they're going to fall apart. I'll insert a clip here of what I mean. And of course gloss black, so fingerprints everywhere and scratches, which is a bit of a shame, but overall it is a nice place to sit. The new seats I do find really comfortable, and they're really attractive too. They've got the R badge embroidered in there and it looks really good, and also you've got this kind of Alcantara style suede material and then the sort of blue detailing. It looks really nice, and you've got blue stitching elsewhere in the car as well, including on the door cards. Top of the dash is squidgy, which does make it feel a little bit better, and as I say, the things that you actually touch, like the touch points, like the steering wheel, pretty decent, and they've actually managed to fit some decent paddles to this one. Down in the centre you've got an old style gear selector, which I don't mind, although it's a shame that the plus and minus on the gearbox isn't inverted. Also, you've got a place for your phone, wireless charger, and also your engine start stop button, and your mode select, your drive mode select, which also includes your race mode. So R on the steering wheel is also that as well. You've got a small storage area in the center console, and also some cup holders, which aren't particularly great. They've not got grips in them, but it is what it is. You do have decent sized door bins with a kind of bottle area and an okay glove box, and Practicality in the back extends as well. So you do get a little bit more legroom in something like a Cupra Formentor, so that is just a little bit of a longer wheelbase, so you're going to get a bit more space back there. But what you do get in this that you don't get in that, because of the sweeping roofline, is in this you do get much more headroom, which is nice. Even with this nice panoramic roof, which is an option, I still get loads of headroom, even in a high driving position here, and in the back just as well. So I don't have much legroom back there, sitting behind my own driving position, but I could totally get away with it, which is good for a short wheelbase car. Effectively, it does kind of feel like a Golf on stilts, to be honest. The wheelbase is quite short, which makes the car nimble and snappy, which I really enjoy. And also, the boot is ever so slightly bigger than that in the Volkswagen Golf as well. There's a nice practical load area, and you can get things in there nice and easily. And actually, the seats fold down. They don't fold down electrically or anything. There's no fancy features, but they fold down really flat in comparison to some of the new cars that they're putting out, like the Volkswagen Tiguan. It's not quite as good. So actually, it's quite a good space back there. So overall, Practicality not that bad. It's obviously not as big as some of its kind of siblings with the same engine, such as the Cupra Ateca or the Cupra Formentor or even the Audi SQ2. The thing is, with the SQ2, you could probably get it for a similar price, but what you are getting with the SQ2 is an older design. So even though the interior quality is definitely going to be much better than in this, it's a bit outdated at this point. And the same with the Ateca, to be honest. It's an outdated interior, but then it uses pretty much the same tech as what I've got in here. So what you've probably come here for is the driving experience. And this one is fitted with the best option of all as well, the £3,795 Akrapovic exhaust system, which is amazing. Get some pops and bangs on the overrun. You get those DSG bangs. The refinement isn't all that in here, I must be honest. There is obviously not a lot of sound insulation and stuff like that, but it does allow you to enjoy the exhaust a little bit more. And it's quite a nice tone for this sort of engine. Picks up quickly, acceleration off the line is brutal thanks to the four-wheel drive system, and it corners way flatter than you'd expect it to, which is really impressive. You know, I'm really hurtling down this road now, and I'm taking manual control. The paddles aren't the best, but they feel okay. It's perfectly sufficient. The gear changes from that 7-speed are pretty much instant, which is lovely. Let's go down a few gears. Yeah, it corners really flat, and you can tell it's front biased, you can tell it's not shoving you out of the corners. But the beauty of it is, it feels so well controlled, and there's no body roll. It feels pretty much like a Golf R, I've got to say. So well composed. It's flat, it's nimble. The short wheelbase really helps. There we go, I found the sweet spot for the overrun. It's definitely hindered by GPF a little bit, but still got a bit of ASBO in it. I love it. It pulls really well. I imagine this remapped would be sensational. Yes. The suspension's just right as well. It's not too firm that you can't live with it day to day, and it really does settle down and cruise well, this car. But at the same time, you can thrash it and get away with it. And it doesn't feel like an SUV or a crossover. It feels really agile. Yeah, I mean, it's a little bit more practical than a Golf, isn't it? Just a little bit. And yet, I think it still provides almost all of the driving engagement. Of course, purists will want something rear-wheel drive or something that's rear-biased. But let's just get this to settle back down for a second. you know, if you want something that's just point and shoot, the Golf R, the S3, all those cars, the Cupra 300, they're all just that, aren't they? You know, like the ones that are four-wheel drive, you can just get in them, you can just hammer it, and you can just have fun, and you don't need to be too skilled. You can get out of most situations, and it's nice on a snowy day when you get in trouble as well. So, you know, overall, I think they're just a really great package. The turning circle is really good as well because it's such a small, short wheelbase. You do get a reverse cam because someone paid for it, but reverse cam that's optional is so-so. No 360, sadly. Again, the tech is a bit outdated, but that's not what you bought this for. Let's put these up. So compliant. Oh, here we go. Whoa. Right, let me just stop here. Traction off. ESC off. Right, let's do a launch quick. Sport mode. Let's go. Got a bit bogged down, but whoa, there we go. There's 60 already. It's so confidence inspiring, it feels so good, and the steering is nicely weighted. You get a little bit of texture, just enough. You get just enough to feel what the front end is doing, and you can feel if it ever goes light, you can correct those inputs. It doesn't really want to step out on you. There's no drift mode, nothing like that, and as I say, being front biased, it very rarely feels like the back wants to go, but occasionally you just get that little twitch here and there under power as you let off. Reminds you how much power's under your right foot. I was expecting loads of understeer, didn't understeer. It's fantastic fun. It's a shame that the quality isn't quite there, and it's a shame that its rivals are more up to date, but you know what, if I was to just stick Apple CarPlay on and, you know, be hammering down a road like this, I wouldn't care about that stuff. This isn't a car you buy for that. This is a car you buy because it's fun, but can also be your daily driver. But it's also decent enough when you just want to put it back down into normal drive mode and just waft along. It's even got the eco mode, so it will drop the revs, you know, to neutral effectively. It will disengage the gear so that you can save some fuel on the way. I would imagine you're probably going to get realistically around sort of 30 to the gallon in one of these. Which isn't the best, isn't the worst. It is what it is. It's about average for a petrol car, but it's quite a fun car. So you know what? Yeah, just enjoy it. If I was looking at the used market, I would probably consider an SQ2 over this just because of the increase in quality on the interior. But Volkswagen do tend to have some really good finance deals on these and stuff, so it's probably worth shopping around. It's not quite Civic Type R levels of fun and things like that, but for a nice practical daily driver that's not too in your face, I think it really nails the brief. Next time around, when they take the recipe that they've put into the new 8.5 Golf R and put it into this, hopefully strip it eventually of these horrible steering wheel controls and update the infotainment system and just facelift the cabin a little bit to make it a little bit more premium in terms of quality. Even if there's a slight price bump, I think buyers will be really inclined to put their hands in their pockets for it. But put it this way, if you've already got a pre-facelift one of these, there's going to be no reason to upgrade. But if you're shopping for a car of this size and you want some fun, whilst it has its shortcomings, it's certainly going to provide that. So thank you guys very much for watching. Thank you so much to Volkswagen for inviting me down to their UK headquarters for the day to test out some of their new cars. And as always, I will see you guys in the next one. Bye bye.